But let's assume he's removing his face and stapling faces on his own and
Right.
doesn't have fingerprints.
What's the date today? 23rd?
Yes.
Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Muddled Dice. Today is August 23rd, 2019. I'm Dan.
Hi, I'm Abby.
Hello, I'm Cole.
Hi, I'm Celeste.
Hi, I'm Shawn.
Let's jump in with Game Informer. So the first thing I have on the Trello is Game Informer lays off 100 plus employees. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess not Game Informer specifically, GameStop. But that includes like most of the editorial staff for Game Informer.
Oh.
Which I thought was interesting because we were just talking a couple weeks ago about GameStop trying to like rebrand themselves with the like retro gaming place.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem great for GameStop.
No.
Yeah. From what I've seen on Twitter so far, it seems the same as any other game company layoff, where it's just like no warning.
Yeah. Yeah, they said one guy was laid off like while he was on vacation.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's rough.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I don't know if it's. I'll be kind of sad to see GameStop go. Not specifically GameStop, but like for us at least, it's the only brick and mortar game store in the area,
Yeah.
and that would kind of suck to see those just completely go away.
I feel like it's a mixed thing because it like one part of me is like, oh, it's really nice to have this that's accessible. The other part just wants to watch it slowly burn to the ground. Because like I understand that like there's a certain level of what you can and can't do to make money, but like this idea that you go in there and you buy things and then you return them and like they're worth like cents.
Yeah.
Like it, I think it really like, and then they turn around and sell them for like so much more.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's like a good business practice.
No.
Especially because like you were talking, they're trying to rebrand themselves as like a retro store. It's like, well, I bring you a game from like an Xbox, and you're like, sorry, that's worth exactly a cent. Actually, you owe us $5 for us taking it off your hands.
But we're going to sell it for $40.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I've never had, like, I always heard on, like, Reddit and other forums, people bitching about GameStop, the employees trying to, like, sell them the Power Player card or something.
Yeah.
And being rude and unknowledgeable. But, like, maybe I've just always been lucky. I've never ran into that at GameStops I've been to. Like, I've never had a hard sell. The employees have always been really helpful. If there's no one else in the store. I mean, I went into a GameStop once and, like, I didn't know what I wanted. And me and the guy behind the counter just ended up watching YouTube videos on his tablet for like 15 minutes, trying to like find something that looked interesting. So, I don't know if GameStop deserves, other than like the trade-in value. I don't know if they deserve the bad rap they got.
I think the people that work there are passionate, and I think the people that work there make the good part of GameStop. I think GameStop's like business practices make the bad part of GameStop.
Yeah.
I think it also just might be like the whole business concept too. Like with a lot of like websites and apps, you can cut out like GameStop. Essentially, they're the middleman now. So it's like you could use like an app like Let Go, and like someone could buy your game like, for more than what you get at GameStop, or like I don't know, just sell it on eBay. You know?
Yeah.
But GameStop is like the easy one. You just hand it to them and you're done. Like you get less money, but you're done. You don't have to like meet some stranger in a parking lot of Target to, give them your game.
I've been thinking about using Let Go to sell my couch, but that's the only thing that's like keeping me from doing it is like, is somebody gonna mug me like as I'm trying to sell this couch?
Right. Yeah. Let's meet at the police station.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if Prince William County does it, but there are police stations that have like designated areas in their parking lot for meet here to like trade your eBay or like garage sale items. Yeah, and it's like all on camera and in front of a police station.
That's nice.
Yeah,
wow.
that was a neat idea. I don't know if Prince William County has it. If not, they should.
Okay.
But,
Interesting.
yeah. Moving on.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so the next is Cyberpunk 2077 has apparently been confirmed to be coming to Google Stadia.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. I was reading the GameSpot article, and they said that Google Stadia is the base membership is going to be free.
Okay.
Which I didn't remember. I don't remember that from the announcement. Does anyone else?
Maybe it's the concept that like you've already paid for the console, so it probably doesn't have as many as many features as one of their like higher up memberships, but like maybe the whole free base membership is based on the fact that you've already kind of paid money for the console.
Right.
I don't remember. Gee, that's interesting because I remember when they did like the launch trailer and we were all talking about it a couple months ago. It was like, oh, well, the base membership is cheap, and now we're like, oh,
now it's free.
Free?
Yeah. Well, that makes me wonder too, though, what the base membership is, because the Stadia base version will be available for free to everyone else in 2020. But the Founders Edition is still $130 and includes a limited edition Night Blue controller, a Chromecast Ultra, and a 3-month subscription to the Stadia Pro service. The opportunity to secure a username early, and a 3-month buddy pass to Stadia Pro for a friend. So, I'm not really sure what the difference is now between free and Pro.
The free version, they let you play on the console.
Right.
You don't connect to the internet. You don't talk on voice chat. You just play the video game.
That's fine with me.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Just so you can talk to people. I don't know if they're going to have their own voice communication or not.
Oh, I don't know. Well, that's interesting. I don't remember if they said anything about like if multiplayer games are going to go through Google servers or still through like Sony or PlayStation. Well, not PlayStation, but like Sony or Blizzard servers or anything. Yeah. The other thing I thought was cool, because this article mentions more about just Stadia. It talks a little more about Cyberpunk. I guess the character in Cyberpunk is going to be fairly customizable, which is different. They kind of mentioned how it's a large leap from like The Witcher 3, where it was a very recognizable singular character.
Yeah.
And I guess they said they wanted Cyberpunk to kind of be more like your story rather than like Geralt's story or whatever what's the Vim or something, whatever the character's name is in Cyberpunk. So it's first person perspective and like a customizable character.
Well, that's interesting because they've been doing all their like cinematics with a character in it.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's going to be like you start off the game in a certain like body, but then you get scrapped somehow, and
that could be.
Then you go on through the rest of the game like modding yourself.
That
could be, yeah.
It could also be like BioWare games though that like even though they're highly customizable characters for all of their like advertising, they do have a very set like this is the male character, this is the female character that they include in their advertising.
Yeah.
It's like the default Dave kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. It'd be interesting if they did it the way like I want to say Far Cry, but that's not at all what I mean. What was the GTA? It started off as like a Grand Theft Auto ripoff and then grew into its own thing. Saints Row. Saints Row.
Yeah.
The way like they advertise with like you can be fucking whoever you want.
Yeah.
And like it'd be cool if they advertised Cyberpunk with like 16 different characters in the ads. The other thing, actually, I wanted to bring it up. Apparently, there's a new Saints Row coming out.
No way.
Yeah, like I tried to find information about it, but there's no info about it other than like Take-Two released. They're like, this is all the shit we're working on.
Yeah.
And in their list of like 17,000 projects, there was like Saints Row 5.
How are they even going to do that?
Seems like a kind of franchise where they could just make something.
They just do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Saints Row 4 took place entirely in like a virtual world.
Yeah, but that's because the real world had been destroyed. But that's also because the real world had been destroyed.
Right.
So maybe that's just what they're running on is still back in that like virtual world kind of thing.
I feel like Saints Row is the kind of series though where like just do whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter too much.
It's so ridiculous.
Like, they put out so many like DLCs for the fourth game, and I was just like, please just give me another game, like a full game.
I know. Oh, such good games. I love the Saints Row games. Anyone else? Nope. Okay. Wow, we're burning through this. This is going to be a shitty podcast.
Oh, no, it's not. Just a shorter podcast.
Shorter podcast. That's what
Quality
I said. Shorter.
is
I didn't
good.
say shitty. Okay, so the Joker movie. Apparently, it's been released or not released. It just got a hard R. So it has an R rating for. Come on, internet. Well, okay. Basically, my internet's not working.
Okay.
It's It's apparently it's a very hard R.
Okay.
It's not like a light-hearted Joker movie.
Yeah.
So it's been compared to like Martin Scorsese movies and like Taxi Driver.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Hang on, let me see if I can open this.
I mean, though, and like that makes sense because, like, yeah, comics have always been kind of advertised to kids, and the Batman, you know, and the heroes are for kids, but like Joker is not kid friendly.
No,
like,
no.
And they do their best to like minimize that when they put him in film.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would do a service to the character if they did that in a film that is like about him specifically and only him.
Yeah, I feel like in as much as like the current Batman comics are like whatever the T rating or 13 plus, and like in as much as they do try to soften the Joker in a lot of movies, like in the comics, like he cut his own face off and like paralyzed Barbara Gordon.
Yeah.
So he's not like a funny guy.
Yeah.
He's not the Cesar Romero Joker.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see a movie actually be like, yeah, the Joker's kind of a fucked up, really, really awful person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would say I'm like excited for it to be a hard R, but I'm glad it is, in the sense that like I was glad Logan was a hard R, because it was like then it means they have the freedom to do whatever they want with it.
Yeah.
It's like, does it need it? I wouldn't say like they had to force it to be that way, but I think using the theme, like with the themes they've chosen to go down for the movie, I think it's like, okay, well, I'm glad it's a hard R, because then they can actually do like those themes without having to water it down too much.
I think it'll be interesting to see how it's received, because Logan was not very well received, was it?
Logan?
Was it?
Oh yeah.
What am I thinking of? Maybe I'm thinking of a different Wolverine movie.
I almost think that Logan wasn't well received because there have been, in my head at least, for the people that didn't like it, is there have been so many superhero movies that are so like PG kid friendly, and then that one went so hard. And although I don't necessarily like it because it was like how much can we beat these two characters up on screen kind of thing, like I think a lot of the reason people didn't like it is because how brutal it was, and they were going in like, and they're like, oh, it's just another X-Men movie. And it wasn't just another X-Men movie.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm wondering if people are going to think about Joker if they don't do their research.
Yeah.
Like it's just a Batman movie, like Justice League or the Christopher Nolan movies, and then it's something completely unexpected.
Whoa. So I'm looking at an article by The Times, and it says that the same screenwriter who wrote Bumblebee is going to be writing this film too, and like that was a very like kid-friendly movie.
Yeah.
So how is this going to work out?
That's interesting.
To be fair, Bumblebee was the first like good Transformers movie. It had an actual like good script, so
I mean,
I'm not too choked up about that.
It's just so soft. I don't.
Maybe that's because, like, if I remember correctly from the few ads that I've seen, maybe that's something that they need though, because like it's his origin story more or less, right? So like that idea of how this kind of very like average person turned into what he is, you know, and I think maybe that like sense of normalcy that writer can probably bring to him, so that it's even more shocking when he, you know, goes ape shit.
Hopefully.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Apparently, it's also being premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival as a gala presentation, which it's the first comic book movie ever to be premiered there. And so I thought this was kind of an odd comic. The co-head of the Toronto International Film Festival said that Joker has references to Martin Scorsese's filmmaking and feels like a cinematic achievement on a high level. Although it's working with very populist material, it has great ambition, which I feel is kind of an unnecessary dig at comic books.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It's also like, I hope that like even though it's definitely supposed to be a more serious film, it's not taking itself too seriously.
Yeah.
I get really uninterested in those films that try and like harken back to like the old style of film, and they like kind of run it into the ground. That's like, oh hey, we're just like referencing all of this old material and not really doing anything like unique to our story. But we want you to think about like this film from like you know X number of years ago.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that I can think of, because like the Toronto Film Festival is definitely about like kind of artsy films, and I'm just like, I don't like. Obviously, like this is supposed to be different from just your run of the mill like action film, but I hope it doesn't take itself so seriously that it's not enjoyable.
Yeah, well, I think we talked about this before. I don't remember if on the podcast or just like at lunch, like how a lot of like comic book film directors are like proud of the fact that like this isn't a comic book movie. Like I've never even read the comic book.
Yeah.
Like I kind of hope they're not trying to do that. Like yes, there's no reason to be like ashamed it came from a comic book.
Yeah.
I mean, like feel like Wonder Woman fully embraced that it was a comic book. There were ridiculous moments that obviously came from comic books.
Yeah.
But it was still an amazing movie.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this film will just also they said it was supposed to be just separate from all the previous Joker films, so maybe this will, I don't like, is this going to be a standalone, or are they ever going to try to like reuse the same cast and crew? Because if they are premiering it at the Toronto Film Festival, like you said, maybe it's just like an experiment for them, kind of like how I feel like that Thor Ragnarok movie was.
Yeah.
You know, is different from all the other ones. So.
Although now Taika is going to be directing another one. He's going to be doing Thor: Love and Thunder, which is going to bring Natalie Portman. Is that right, Natalie Portman?
Yeah.
Back into it. So and there's
So
talk that
excited.
she's going to be like
she's going to be the female Thor from the comics.
So
Oh,
so like,
cool.
and he's like directing that. So I'm stoked about that because like it definitely didn't take itself like seriously, but it was so far out from like what other directors have done with the Marvel universe so far.
Yeah. And also, kind of like at the same time, I guess it's kind of cool because you have like different styles and different interpretations of these same characters kind of like fleshed out in different like side stories. And I don't know, fingers crossed. I really like the Jared Leto version of the Joker, so.
I still haven't seen Suicide Squad.
I didn't dislike it. I was really not into that whole like his whole journey as like a character actor thing where they're like, oh, he sent like rats to so and so. It's like, dude, like chill out. It's okay. It's fine.
I disliked that movie.
What?
It was okay. The Harley Quinn was pretty good. The characterization there, and Will Smith's Deadshot was pretty cool, I guess. But meh. Side note: it looks like Bruce Wayne's in this movie.
Yeah.
In the Joker movie?
Yeah, they have Douglas Hodge cast as Alfred, and they
I don't know
have
who that is.
Brett Cullen cast as Thomas Wayne. Don't know who either of those people are.
Nope.
And then there's a young Bruce Wayne. I don't know if there's going to be a Bruce Wayne, but
Okay.
I see a Batman in this movie.
Because they were saying in that GameSpot article that it takes place in the late 70s and early 80s.
Yeah,
So I guess depending on the time period, Thomas Wayne would still be alive.
yeah.
You think they're going for that Michael Keaton Batman origin where Joker is the one that killed his parents?
Maybe. I hope not. I never liked that origin. I never liked the idea that like Batman's origin is like some big like conspiracy thing. Like the Joker killed him. Yeah, I love the idea that it was just random petty crime. Like it was just some Joe Chill just shot his parents for the money, and like that's it. It's not a big conspiracy. It wasn't from like the Joker.
How about the other way around, where Batman creates the Joker? Same movie, but
I don't know. It's weird.
I don't mind when a superhero or supervillain begets the creation of their opposite, because it makes sense why they occurred at the same time.
Yeah, you're talking about like his origin story where he starts as the Red Hood and Batman chases him into the vat of acid.
That Michael Keaton Batman, where Batman drops him into a vat of stuff, and that's what makes him the Joker.
Yeah.
They're all, one is begetting the other.
Yeah, that's more interesting to me for a Joker origin story. Yeah, I kind of like the idea too that it reminds me of like Michael Douglas's Falling Down, where like just like one bad day can totally fuck you up if you're like in the wrong headspace, and which is kind of like the whole idea of like Joker. Like he was poor. He was trying to feed his family. He fell in with the Red Hood gang, and then got chased into the vat of acid. And now he's the Joker.
Okay.
You know. I also though like having Joker have like no origin story. He's just this like evil force that no one knows where he came from. Which I think is why I like Joker's daughter too, that character, because she's just this psychotic person who shows up and claims to be, like, first she said she was Mr. Freeze's daughter, and then she was the Riddler's daughter, and then she was the Joker's daughter, and like no one knows who she is or where she came from. She just showed up. I think that's kind of interesting.
I think for me that might be why like Heath Ledger's Joker was one of my favorites, because like his whole thing was this idea that you didn't really know where he came from.
Yeah.
And I think a few times even in the movie, he like, you want to know what happened to my face, and like each time the story he tells is like different.
Yeah.
And I think that for me was like a really interesting Joker, because so often you see him as this very like flamboyant, like in your face character, and Heath Ledger's was so subtle, and in that like subtlety, I think it kind of goes with that whole in scary movies you want to show less instead of more, because it allows the brain to like develop its own things, and like the scariest thing that you can ever like experience is something you make with your own mind. And so in leaving him like mysterious like that, he became scarier because you could like fill in the blanks yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like if you have like oh, this is how I became the Joker, like, oh, you can like avoid that. But if you're like, yeah, no one knows how this happened, it just happened, it could happen to anybody, like that's scary.
Yeah.
Did they ever try replacing the Joker? Sort of like,
How do you mean?
like, I don't know which background you stick with, but let's assume he's removing his face and stapling faces on his own and doesn't have fingerprints. Couldn't you swap him out?
Like anyone could be the Joker.
Yeah, and be like, by the way, I'm the Joker. You're like, I'm not sure. You say this.
I guess so.
And then he can kind of just keep going forever. He's not restricted by the bounds of mortality.
Like the psycho version of Dread Pirate Roberts.
Yeah, basically. You know.
Yeah, I guess he could. I don't know if they've done that. Not that I know of, at least.
TM, trademark.
Yeah.
If you guys want to write it, you got to come tell us.
Yeah. Call us, DC. I know they did. I like how they did in Arkham Knight, where after the Joker dies, spoilers, I guess, for a 10-year-old video game. After the Joker dies in Arkham City? At the end of Arkham City.
The game?
The game.
I thought he died in Arkham Knight.
No, he keeps coming back as hallucinations. Bruce Wayne keeps hallucinating him in Arkham Knight.
Yeah, I really don't remember Arkham City well then.
I thought that was cool. Because it kind of reinforces that Bruce Wayne and Joker are two sides of one coin, and they need each other. Yeah.
I'm looking through these movies for this Joker stuff. Did you guys know they're making a new Doom movie?
Really?
A Doom movie?
Like the video game?
Yeah.
Oh no!
With the same guy?
With The Rock?
No, not with
Carl Urban.
Oh.
No, not with Carl Urban or The Rock, but it comes out in October 1st.
Well, that's
It's a hard R, and it has
Okay.
the people in it. Never heard of him. It looks like
When you say
Kind of.
hard R, are you guys saying
no,
NC-17?
No.
just R.
So it's still an R.
Yeah.
But it's like an R, not admitted without parent, children shouldn't be watching this film.
Okay.
Yeah, not it could have been PG-13, but they said fuck one too many
They
times.
said fuck twice instead of
Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's crazy. It looks not good.
Bonkers. Yeah. Because the first one was amazing.
Was it?
I
was gonna say no.
No.
The images they have on IMDb are almost the same. It's the demons are dudes in makeup with tattered clothes, and I'm like, come on! I want to see the demons from the game where they're these big hulking Goliath demons, and I want Doom Guy to be in it, just running around without saying a single line.
Where's
all first-person camera.
Yeah.
Where's my Guillermo del Toro version of Doom?
Would you rather that
Ooh.
or a Duke Nukem game?
I like that idea. Oh my god.
Oh.
Duke Nukem game? Yeah.
I don't know what the
At least
Duke.
the main guy
Wait,
has
did
a
you say-
personality.
Did you say game or
of sorts.
movie?
A movie.
Oh,
I don't know what kind of Duke. I don't know what target demographic the Duke Nukem
No.
movie would have. It's just we're gonna cuss a whole lot, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be just over the top because that's his character.
I imagine
Basically.
it like a Bruce Campbell movie.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just the right mix of gore, violence, and for some reason just whatever you call that chauvinism kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be a really hard sell.
Well, not with
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell now. I don't know
Yeah.
who's got that kind of sell.
Yeah.
I can't think of anyone.
Like to see a Duke Nukem movie, but with a gender flop. That would be interesting.
Yeah,
that would make it interesting.
I like the idea.
I think a regular Duke Nukem movie would just be like, oh, this is boring and dumb.
Yeah,
but
it starts to go into like James Corbin territory or something. But it would be interesting. I like, it would be like a satire kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like Barbed Wire, but good, I guess, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, or just something completely off the wall, like Death Race 2000.
Oh, yeah.
or Machete.
Oh yeah.
There's another Ghostbusters coming out too.
Oh my god.
Yeah, except this one is like
it's like a reboot, not reboot, with the original cast, right?
They were so offended by
Eventually,
I think that's impossible.
Can't you only reboot things so often?
Yeah.
Isn't like half the original cast dead, or at least one of them?
Oh, they're gone.
One of them.
Yeah, but like they can still reboot the people that are
The
alive
universe.
and like the concept of them.
Okay.
Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis are gone, right?
I think so.
Is Dan Aykroyd dead?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think he's still selling vodka.
Okay.
And talking about aliens.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, good for him. He fell into a weird career,
The
but
Ghostbusters take on aliens now. And
There was a
Steven
teaser
Spielberg style.
trailer for it at like
switching
Comic-Con
vodka.
last year or something.
Yeah. Really?
It's like it's like
vodka.
the
it's like
entire
maybe
the entire movie's just an ad for Crystal Skull
like
vodka.
a minute long, and it's literally just like lightning flashing, and it's
I know
like
what you're
zooming
talking
into like
about.
a farmhouse with
Yeah.
like a car in it, but you
Yeah.
can't see the car.
You're talking about that thing they show at the beginning of movies?
No, like
Oh.
I was saying, there was like a teaser trailer at Comic-Con for this new Ghostbusters.
Oh.
It was like 2 seconds long, and it's literally they're just like slow
Maybe
panning.
I have heard of this. They're going to hell or something?
I don't know, maybe. I don't know.
Something
All
like
I know
that.
is
like they
all
don't
the
find
nerd
them in New
boys-
York or New Jersey. They go to like some otherworldly plane or something.
Yeah. All I know is that like overall, like, and I'm not saying this to be offensive, but take it as you will. All of the nerd boys were commenting on YouTube on the video, like, "Oh yeah, they're gonna fix what the last one messed up.
So
No girls
annoying.
in this one. Like, chill out.
So
It's okay. Like, you're okay."
Yeah.
That's rough.
I'm curious how they're going to do it. If it's a fresh reboot or if they're going to try and connect it to previous movies.
The original ones, yeah.
Because that was my only issue with the new ones. They didn't tie it in.
Yeah.
I was
There
like,
wasn't any callbacks.
You could have like been like, hey, I got this idea from these guys who once did a thing. You're like, okay, I kind of see there's a connection.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to know them, be friends, but just sort of acknowledge.
That it existed before.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to do it with their kids originally. Like they were going to do another sequel.
Okay.
They'd be like kind of like Jumanji, like, hey, we're kids and we're
Yeah.
friends, and here's
Yeah.
all my dad's old shit
Yeah.
downstairs or in the garage, and then they just sort of pick up and go from there.
Yeah.
That would have been
That'd
cool.
be cool.
Yeah.
Oh well. All right. Well, let's go from reboot to reboot. The Rocko's Modern Life 23-year special is on Netflix now.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone else watch it, or am I the only one who watched it?
I haven't watched it yet.
I've never seen it.
Okay, so. Well, wait. Everyone else is familiar with Rocko's Modern Life, right?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Would you say no?
You said no.
You
I said
no?
yes.
Wait.
I thought you said no.
You said
No, I
no.
said yes.
no.
You just
Oh,
you
sorry.
said no.
Oh my god.
No, I know what it is.
Okay.
Sorry.
So I don't remember the end of the original show, but apparently they got launched into space, which I'm just gonna accept it because I don't remember.
Yeah.
And so like now it's 20 years later, and they're coming back to Earth, and there's a lot of like meta stuff, like, oh wow, the world is so different than 20 years ago. Like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
So like, but it's kind of fun. It's like Rocco is trying to get like his old favorite cartoon back on the air. And there's a lot of like meta stuff, like, oh, it's kind of weird to be this nostalgic, but you have to accept that things change, like they did with Rocco's Modern Life. But it's like it's a 45-minute special.
Yeah.
So like if you watch the show when you were a kid, like it's fun to watch for less than an hour. Yeah, I dug it. It was fun to watch.
45 minutes well spent.
Yeah, definitely. It was still just as weird and gross as the original.
Fair.
Yeah.
They're gonna make a Miss Marvel series on Disney Plus.
Oh,
That's pretty exciting.
wait, a Miss Marvel?
Miss Marvel, yeah, like new Camilla Khan, Miss Marvel.
I'm not familiar with Miss Marvel actually.
Miss Marvel. Okay, so Captain Marvel was originally Marvel.
Right. Yeah.
A dude from space.
Marv apostrophe L.
Yeah, and there was a Miss Marvel who was the current Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And then Marvel died, and what's her name? Carol Danvers took Captain Marvel, and now there's a new Miss Marvel who's an Inhuman named Kamala Khan, and she's kind of got like...
She's got the big hands,
yeah,
right?
she can like change the size of her like body parts, so she's kind of like Mr. Fantastic, but she also like inflates body parts and like beats the shit out of people.
Okay.
She's really cool, and she's written really well in the comics, so I don't know.
Okay.
I hope they do well in the show, because she's always got like a really cool personality in the comics. At least she hangs out with Spider-Man a lot, and like Miles Morales, and I think she was part of the New Avengers for a while. I don't know.
All right. Cool. That actually... So Sony is trying to buy back Spider-Man?
I'm not going to comment
So,
on that whole thing. I think it's stupid.
So I don't think it's that
agree.
they're trying... I'll get to that. So I don't think it's that they're trying to buy it back. I think they had a deal with Disney because they still own Spider-Man. And so Disney was paying them to create films with him in it.
Well, here's how their deal worked out. Sony still owns the movie rights for Spider-Man. They made their two series, and they weren't great. So then they were like, fine, here's our deal. Sony would bankroll the movies, the new Spider-Man movies in the MCU, but Marvel Studios would make the movies. Sony would produce it and pay for it. Marvel would make it, and then Sony would make all the money from the movies, but Disney would get all the money from merchandising rights. And that was the deal. And so he's been in 5 movies, so it was time to renegotiate the deal. And what originally dropped was that Disney was being greedy and wanted more, and wanted to like split the actual movie ticket money like 50-50, which some people might say is fair because they're making the movie, and some people might say, oh, that's not fair. Sony's paying for the movie, and you're already getting all the merchandising merchandising money for which Spider-Man, it's going to be like through the roof. But then the official statement by Sony was that it wasn't about that at all. It wasn't money at all. It was about like producer rights. Like, is Kevin Feige still producing these movies with Sony like paying for it, or is Sony going to start having some sort of like influence on how the movies are made? I don't know. I don't think anyone actually knows what the reasoning is for this dispute, but this happened literally this week, and I refuse to believe that there's any way in hell that Disney would let Spider-Man drop out of the MCU.
So it was a really interesting post that I read, because like as of kind of like yesterday, it was that Sony was not going to let up, and so it was going to look like he wasn't going to be in the MCU anymore. And then like as this was happening, it started going out in the news, and I follow this one girl who posted a very interesting concept, and it says the idea that this has become public is because Disney was relying on the public outcry of people being upset that he wasn't going to be in the MCU to sway Sony to like continue talks. And so at right now they're at an impasse, but like they're not anymore saying like, for sure, no, you have to agree with our demands.
Right.
And they're like, it's really scary. And I've thought this since I was in like high school, because I think while I was in high school, I was sitting in art class and the news came out that they had bought, I think, Lucasfilms or Marvel, like one of the two. And my art teacher was sitting at his desk and he was like, Disney is literally the Antichrist. And then like since then they've bought like Fox. They've bought they own so many.
Fox is Fox was looking to sell their movie studio.
Yeah.
Like their production studio. They still have like Fox still exists as a company, but they were like, we're not making movies anymore.
Yeah. And so they were like, it's really scary the like hold that Disney currently has on media, because they can just like, oh, hey, we're going to leak this information about Sony not cooperating with us. You guys all love this character, right? Like, and the like public reaction to it has been, and maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's just very coincidental that like around the same time people got a hold of this news. Like Sony's also like, oh, never mind, we'll talk. But it's, I don't know.
I just, even if they hadn't done that, I think that they would sooner shell out like $1 billion to Sony before, even if Sony was like, nope. If they like got close to when they wanted to incorporate Spidey into a movie again, they would just be like, you know what, fine, you win. Here's $2 billion to let us, like, because they're such a juggernaut, they could just be like, we will literally buy you to get Spider-Man back.
Yeah.
Or we'll, like, buy our rights back for however much you want. Because I think he's such, like, A, for Marvel, he's their biggest character, and B, for Disney, I think he's like the showrunner that's going to run the MCU for a while now. Yeah, he's by far the most popular like superhero that Marvel has running for him.
He's too big of a cash cow for them to just let go amicably. Yeah. Like, no. Last thing on the list, I'm going to throw it to Abby. Fire Emblem.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. I just paused for a while because I have a big shit-eating grin on my face. So, like, down low, DL, I bought Fire Emblem on a Wednesday and finished it on a Saturday morning. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm doing a second playthrough, but one of the characters winning the hearts of thousands, including my own, is the gatekeeper, who basically the way that the story works is every month you go into like a new rotation, and at that point you can talk to characters, and one of them is this gatekeeper on the like in the area that you live in, and like he like says hello to you and gives you like a little update, and he's always really cheery, and he kind of gives you like an update on like the state of the world, and I think really kind of in his own way kind of speaks to the way that the character or like the player should be feeling about the events that are happening in the story. So like if something bad happens, like he's very sad and blah, 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 blah. And not that other characters aren't sad, but I just think he has a very human voice. But he's an NPC, so like totally uninteractable, like past talking to him once a month. Somebody hacked the game to make NPCs like characters that you can bring with you on adventures, and like playable characters that are on your team all have stats. One of those stats is charm, and for some reason his charm was at 99.
They knew what they wanted.
They knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing, and they were like, put him up there.
Yeah. So it's really funny. The guy that did the hacking, he's like, I could have like, obviously like I could have changed it, but I didn't. And he like has similar stats to any of the other NPCs who all seem to have kind of cookie cutter stats just in the system. He's like, I have no idea how to explain why his stats are reading 99 for charm, but I know why they read 99 for charm. It's the same reason he's stolen my heart. Okay. So like one of the best characters in the game. If you guys haven't picked up Fire Emblem yet, it's definitely worth the buy. Definitely in a lot of ways a departure from kind of the classic Fire Emblem style, and yet somehow like calling back to kind of traditions from older Fire Emblems that are really good. So would recommend 10 out of 10.
Maybe you know more, but like Fire Emblem is only on the Switch, isn't it?
So this one is oof.
That's probably Tammy.
Yeah. So this one is only on the Switch. The previous, I think, the previous like I think 2 games maybe were on the DS.
Okay.
But they are, and I could be wrong in the past, but they are a Nintendo franchise.
So how does like a hack on the Switch work?
You break it.
Oh,
you
well, you can install Android on the Switch.
Yeah.
Now,
that's
too.
yeah. No shit. I was talking about that last time. Yeah. Yeah. Our buddy John installed the Android. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm done. Never mind. Tammy's here. All right. Well, that's everything we got to talk about this week. Mm-hmm. So you want to end the show with the usual, what are you playing, reading, watching this week?
y'all already know what I'm playing this week.
Everyone knows Abby's playing Fire Emblem still.
And if anyone is curious, I romanced Dimitri. Thank you. Have a good night.
I haven't played a game in a long time, but I read Batman the White Knight. Kicked ass. It was so good.
Yeah.
I read Kingdom Come by DC, which was also really cool.
Yeah.
Can't get over Alex Ross's art, though. I just don't know what it is about it. It's too real looking, and it makes me uncomfortable.
My issue too. Yeah.
And then I'm reading Hellboy: Seed of Destruction Omnibus 1, and it kicks ass. Hellboy might be my new go-to series for a while.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I'm finishing up The Boys tonight.
Celeste?
One Punch Man. I know I was late on the bandwagon, but I am so upset with how they ended season 2. How can you not end it with like the boss battle and like they just like cut and it's like, oh, he's flying away. So yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Shawn?
Just riff tracks per usual. That's it.
Riff tracks? Mm-hmm. Okay, nice. I didn't know that was still a thing.
Mm-hmm. They still do it.
Nice. So I finished up Mr. Miracle, which was also amazing. I mean, like anything by Tom King is amazing. I'll read anything he writes. And then playing the VR mode for No Man's Sky came out recently. Mm-hmm. So I've been playing that, and I have such mixed feelings about it. It has a potential to be so amazing, but there's so many graphical issues where like sometimes you can't read the menus, and like grass just like pops in 20 feet in front of you, and it's got so much potential. And like I want to love it, but I also kind of hate it. So But yeah, I'm digging it. I'll probably go back to it and keep playing it. Yeah. So
if I ever buy that new $1,000 one, I'll tell you how the VR for No Man's Sky is on that. I imagine it might be night and day between the PC version and the PS4 version.
I would imagine.
I don't know much about developing for the PS4 headset, but I have to imagine there's pretty large constraints. There's already big constraints on putting it on console anyways.
Right.
I feel like tossing it onto the VR might just be one too many things for No Man's Sky to continue looking good.
Yeah. I mean, it is amazing. Like the first time, like you get into like you get your ship all repaired and climb into it, and then like you using the move controllers and you like pull the throttle back and then like using the joystick to pilot your ship. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
I like the idea of piloting your ship like with your hands.
Yeah. It's really touchy though. I crashed into the ground quite a few times, which is really jarring in VR.
You're just like, oh God.
Yeah. But yeah. Cool. So that is the podcast for August. What did you say it was? 23rd? August 23rd, 2019. Thanks everybody for listening. If you enjoyed the show, consider donating to any of the organizations in the description. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.